Hey guys, what is up? I hope everybody has been having a great day. Happy to be back with episode 26, part 2 of my golf vlog series, featuring the back nine of the Redbud course at Winstar Golf Club. If you guys could do me a favor and like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, that would be greatly appreciated. We are less than 1,000 subscribers away from 70,000, and once we hit 70k, I'll release a special 18-hole video at a course that I know you guys will love. And so definitely subscribe if you guys would like that video out. Also, if you guys would like to grab some merch, I'll leave a link to the merch store in the description below. And with that being said, let's hop into the video. So I'm actually one fairway over here in the left fairway bunker of the hole that goes the opposite of hole 10. And so this was about a week ago. I filmed this maybe 10 days ago, and I was still struggling very greatly with accuracy off the tee and kind of figuring out, how to square the face and hit it straight. I'm still working on it, but I've made a lot of improvements since then, and it's definitely good for me to be able to see the playback here and kind of see the differences. I actually just got back from a lesson with my golf coach, Bernie Najar, up at Caves Valley, which, by the way, I will definitely do a video there at some point. Unfortunately, they are getting ready for the BMW Championship next year, so they just closed the course for the winter. But that'll definitely be a video I do at some point next year for sure. But we spent a lot of time working on kind of controlling my angles down to the ball with less of a swing, and I was hitting some awesome shots. So I'm pretty excited to see how much I'll be able to improve off of just this lesson I just had and in the future. I mean, I'm really, really pleased with my progress, and I've only been doing this for about 2 weeks now, like really pursuing this. So I'm excited to see if the next couple months are going to bring, and we'll see how it goes. And so this was really a fun 9 holes because the wind was starting to die down a bit, and it was a really beautiful day. Just sun was starting to set, and so I pretty much just played 9 holes at a really beautiful course at Winstar Golf Club, and with the sun setting in the background. So it was a lot of fun. Definitely was struggling with control issues here and there a little bit, but that's just part of the process when it comes to, I don't want to say I'm de-evolving from long drive because that's not correct. I have a long drive tournament coming up in about a week, but given the state of long drive and kind of where I am in my life, I'm 23 years old, and I know that, this is probably an opportunity that I'm not going to get at in this way ever again in terms of pursuing the pro golf ranks. So I'm not leaving long drive. I'm just kind of putting a little more time into this and seeing what happens, and I'll have a much better idea of where my game truly is once we start getting into next spring. And so that's kind of where I am with all that good stuff. But this is a beast of a hole, well over 600 yards, and it was a little bit downwind, so it made it a little bit easier to cut it down to size. Tee shot drifted a little bit to the right, and I almost got to that tall grass. I did not think I could even get close to that tall grass, but it stayed short, and I hit a bit of a chaser up there. I wasn't really trying to get it on the green. I knew the pin was in the back, so I knew I'd have plenty of green to work with, and this is pretty much where I was trying to put my shot. And here I'm starting to experiment more with flighting the ball a little bit lower around the green. And, I hit this one a little too hard, overcooked it a bit, but my chipping's definitely improved significantly now that I'm starting to use lower lofted clubs. And when I approach chipping, I always think about so if I had this shot here, I'm thinking, what's the lowest lofted club I can hit where I can still comfortably land it on the green and let it roll out to the pin? The reason being is, well, what a beautiful read that was. But the reason being is the more loft you get on the ball, the more variables you put into play. The sooner you get the ball on the ground, the quicker you can have less variables affect the ball. And so if I was to hit a 60-degree wedge there, it'd be a bigger swing, which means, and I'm learning a lot about this stuff from Bernie and as I'm getting more into golf. The bigger of a swing you make, the tougher it is to create consistent launch conditions and consistent ball flights and consistent direction, which is critical to scoring. And so if you can flight it lower, if you can take less of a swing with a lower lofted club, you're really minimizing the variables. And especially for higher handicappers, I think a lot of higher handicappers would be amazed at how much they can improve if they just focus less on trying to make incredible shots and focus more on hitting easy to execute shots with very little variables. I think people might be surprised at how quickly they would improve. And I almost made this. I think I actually lipped out. But so it was a good save right there. But yeah, if you guys are really trying to get your handicap down, it's just so underrated because it's not sexy. People don't like. You're not going to brag about a bump and run that you hit to a foot, but that's the easiest way to get your score down, especially if you're shooting in the 90s or even 80s. A lot of those shots are being lost unnecessarily around the green, hitting shots. Not that it's not your skill level necessarily. It's more than anything the shot choice you make. It's important to execute a shot that you're comfortable you can execute more often than not. And so next time you guys are out playing, just if you have a shot that might require a really, really crazy flop shot or really weird hook around a tree, you might be surprised at how low your score can get if you just play bump and run it up there and accept a 10 or 12 footer instead of trying to get it within a foot, or if you're in the trees, just chipping out versus trying to hit a rope hook around the trees and advance a little bit further. Now, if you just want to have fun and keep doing, then by all means. But if you're looking to score lower, it's probably a good idea to consider hitting shots that are a little bit easier to execute. And obviously, as you get better at golf, then those shots can come back in your repertoire as higher percentage shots. And so here I am again, another fairway over. And this is what I said earlier. You guys are definitely going to see a couple of those. And they've gotten a lot tighter, though. And this was, it's crazy how long my swing is here, because one of the things Bernie and I are working on is we're keeping my driver swing the same, meaning that we know I have a great engine and we want to let that engine really go, but we're working a lot more around the greens and even inside 200 yards in, quite frankly. We're working on more consistent, tighter angles. What I mean by that is we're packing my elbows in a little more, and we're trying to keep things tighter around. If you were to put a towel under both my shoulders, our goal is to keep that towel from falling in my backswing. So that's what I mean by a little bit more compact. And the tighter you keep your limbs to your body, the less variance there will be in angles. And so I'm really excited to see how that pays off. It'll be a lot of work and a lot of reps, but I think we'll be in good shape. So sound up for this drive. It did pull it a bit. I pulled it a lot, but I pulled it far enough left where I actually avoided the high grass, which was actually nice. So this is actually a pretty good shot for the hole. It wasn't actually a good shot, but it put me in a pretty decent position. Just going right back at the hole. And so this was definitely very unusual rough. What I mean by that is it sat up so nicely, but almost to the point where it got hard, because if you put the club behind the ball, it was very easy for the ball to move. So you almost had to hover the club behind the ball and kind of try not to let the rough move too much, because the ball would move. It was just sitting up so perfectly. And it was weird because you were able to get a lot of spin out of the rough, and that's definitely not something I think people are used to. So it's definitely a unique challenge for me. So it looks like I got about an 8-footer here to save par. And that stung. I thought that was probably going to go in. But my putting stroke's improved so much since then. It's actually amazing to see how much better everything's gotten. And another 3-iron, so that means sound up. And this thing was nuked. This thing went over 300 yards. I had a little bit of help with the wind, but it's nice to see the speeds are, still perfect. That's the big thing that I'm watching really closely is my numbers on the TrackMan, which is why it's so nice to have all these numbers, because I can really track my speeds pretty carefully and just kind of make sure that there's not really any drop-offs, because that's a big thing that I'm focused on. I know a lot of people, when they get really into golf from long drive, the speeds tend to drop off a bit. But that's definitely not something we want to have happen. If I was to play professional golf tournament, I want to be swinging every bit of 138, 140. I just think that's such a massive advantage for me. and I don't want to really lose that. But we'll see. We'll have to see how things go with that. But that's kind of been the plan so far, is just to keep my numbers where they are and just learn how to control it within that, and just kind of see how that goes. This was definitely my best putt of the 9 by a mile. So that was a really nice par save. Kind of stopped the bleeding there. So this was brutal. Like, I'm sure you guys can see the pond there. So the sun was in my eyes, and the sun was reflecting off of that water, and I couldn't see anything. Like, I wish I could describe it, but like, you couldn't even look at the pin. Like, you just couldn't see it. And you'll see here, I hit a beautiful shot though, and I tried to see it. I just couldn't see it because the you'd shade yourself from the original sun in the background, and then the sun being reflected off of the water would get you under your eyes. So it was pretty brutal. But you can see going up there, pretty tight to the hole. So it was a good shot, especially with where that pin was. So I have about 20 feet to get in on a 75 with a 1 over par on the backside, which isn't too bad. This is a hard course, by the way. So trying to make a good stroke here. Thought I made a good roll and just left it short, unfortunately. So I'll knock that one in to shoot 38. So I ended up shooting 4 over 76. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time.